Hey guys, welcome back to Dave Does It. I'm Dave, and sometimes we do things. And one of the things we're doing today is going to pick up the broken S10. So I know I told you guys the last time that the next time you see the truck here, we're going to go for a little cruise. Well, I got it all back together yesterday, stuffed an axle in it, and decided to take Mrs. C to a cruise in. So we met up with Timmy, we went to a little local cruise in, and then on the way home it was just disaster. So stay tuned, and I'll fill you in. Well guys, we're over here at Tim's. Here's the junk truck. So last night we went to a cruise in with Tim, took Mrs. C out there, local diner. Went fine. We had a little bit of drivability issues on the way over here. So when we got here, we took 25 minutes and I reset the exhaust cam back to 0 so it's not retarded anymore. And the bottom end drivability got way better. When we were leaving the cruise in, I lost the clutch pedal. So we got back to Tim's house here about 8:30 last night. And we seen that the adapter fitting into the slave cylinder was leaking pretty good. So we put a new crush washer on it, re-bled the system, and I still didn't really have a clutch pedal, but it was enough to go into gear and try to limp it home. However, when I started the truck after that, we have a really bad tick. We're hoping it's a top end tick, could be a bottom end tick. You know, this is a mystery motor. It didn't look that great, and we just slammed it together. But unfortunately, we didn't really get to do anything with it, you know? So we're going to poke around with it here for a quick minute, and worst case scenario, we're going to load it up on the trailer and take her back home. Sounds okay now. Oh, no, there's the tick. Tick is coming. You guys probably can't hear it on the mic because the exhaust, the way it reverbs to the microphone. But something's in there ticking. Can you hear it? Ooh. Oh, that's angry. Oh, that's definitely valve train. LT, what do you think? You think I kicked the rocker? They're just one of the last adjusters? Not missing. Yeah, but it has 2 valves per cylinder. Well, maybe we'll pull the valve cover off really quick and just take a peek in there, but it's definitely going home on the trailer. All right, so we pulled the valve cover off. We're going to kind of poke around. I'm going to rotate it over and check each lifter or lash adjuster independently. And Tim said that we could hear it while it's cranking, so we unplugged the injector resistor and we may crank it over to just try to see what's noisy. Hopefully it's something dumb. But, you know, I guess it is what it is, you know. So I'm going to poke around a little bit and then I'll let you guys know what we find and show you something. All right, so we pulled the plugs out. All the plugs look decent still. I rolled it over, did a visual inspection of the lifters and rockers, checked them unloaded, you know, lift up, everything's tight. I looked at the rollers on the rockers. Nothing looks funky. So I'm gonna wait for Tim to come back out here, and I guess we're gonna crank it over and see if we can isolate which cylinder's making the noise. Because this, I thought it'd be pretty apparent, you know. I know it's not an oiling issue. We got plenty of oil pressure, like I showed you guys. So it's definitely most likely a collapsed lifter, I would think. You know, some of them are pumped up a little more than others, so hopefully it's something dumb like that, but it's gonna take a little bit to diagnose. All right, so we were doing a little more digging and looking at the individual cylinders and the lash adjusters a little better. I'm pretty confident it's just a lash adjuster issue. Like you can see this one here. it's not pumped up. But if you go to this one, you know, it is pumped up. So there's a couple cylinders that are like this. This one in particular, the one next to it looks a little weak. And then this rear cylinder, cylinder 4 on the exhaust side, both these rear ones don't appear to be pumped up. So that's not super terrible. You could kind of change them without pulling a bunch of shit, but we'll have to see how frisky I feel, because normally you could just knock the rocker out with the pry bar, then you collapse the new lash adjuster, drop it in there, and you could just walk it back in, right? You got to float it over the valve spring. It's a little archaic, but it does work. So I just want to verify that's it. But I'm hoping that it's something dumb. You know, I didn't really want this to be that short-lived, but I guess at the same time, it also gives us an excuse to build a motor, which we aren't really financially prepared for, but going into winter, it makes things a little easier, and we could kind of revisit some things, and it gives me an excuse to pull this head off and put the right head on it so we can get rid of that intake spacer. I noticed yesterday it's starting to crack up, so it's not doing us any favors, but I just wanted to go to one cruising, so we did that, made it out of there before it broke. So we'll just kind of assess the situation now and see how we're gonna move forward. So we narrowed it down to cylinder 1 exhaust. So we pulled the lifters and the rockers out, and the ticking stops while we crank it. But we don't see anything wrong with either of them. The lifters are pumped up. The lifters that are bleeding off and are collapsed pump up and stay pumped up after you crank it for a good while. I really don't know what the noise is. The rollers look good. These lash adjusters look good. It's just like a really weird top end tick, you know? It's like we have a collapsed lash adjuster or a bad roller, but it all feels good. It just sounds like crap. I have some more stuff at home we could swap them out with and try, but I don't know if that's going to correct the issue. So I don't know how well this is going to show up on camera for you guys, but I'll try to show you. We're thinking now that we have a bent valve. Like I said, we isolate it to the exhaust, cylinder 1. And if you look at these valve stem heights, here, let me try to adjust the camera. Off the lobe of the camshaft, it looks like this one is sitting slightly lower. And I guess it would kind of make sense if that valve's hanging open a little bit, because I did get a nasty backfire at a low RPM under load when we were cruising up to the cruise-in. So if that's the case, I'm not even going to put it back together to drive it on the trailer. We're going to winch it up on the trailer. I'm going to get it home, and this thing's going to sit for a little bit until we decide what we're doing. At least now we have a reason to pull the head off and swap it out and put our 2G head on so we can get rid of that plastic intake spacer. Well, we're back home now. We're going to get her unloaded in the garage, and I might take another sneak peek at it and get a little more in depth. But I'm in no hurry, right? You know, we only have like a month or so left in the season, and I'm not gonna go out of my way and rush something together just because I wanna drive this. You know, it was a rush build. I didn't really know the history of anything. It kind of sucks if it ends up being a bent valve. I guess that's just my sign that since I picked up those 2G heads, we could put the right head on it. But you know, like I mentioned in the last video, I'd want to build a motor so I don't have to worry about it then. And you know, that takes time, and I have decisions to make whether we're going to stick with this 1.8 or bore it to a 2-liter or find a 2-liter and go back and forth. But you know, it's only time and money, and neither of us really know how much we have. So I don't know. I'm going to get this in the garage. We'll look at it, and I guess that's it for this short little update. You know, unfortunately, I'm sorry I didn't get to take you guys around for a cruise. You know, like I said, I just stuffed an axle in it yesterday. Mrs. C and I went to that cruise-in with Tim, and on the way back from the cruise-in, this is what happened. And, you know, we weren't even beating on it. It was just subtle driving, you know, 3,000 RPM and less. And I don't know, it's kind of discerning. But, again, I didn't know the history of any of this. And, you know, I could have damaged it when I did the burnout. You know, in the video, as you've seen, you know, it did hit the limiter a little bit when we did the burnout at the track when we broke the rear end. And, you know, it didn't really run. This is the first time it's run since then. It seems to idle good. It did pull good vacuum after I adjusted the cams back to how they were supposed to be. One tooth is not enough to cause interference on stock cams. So I really think that it might have floated a valve or something, I guess. I don't know. We'll have to see and determine that once we get the head off and kind of see what course of action is next and, how we're going to move forward. But here she is. I'm going to get it back in the garage. And, yeah, I don't know. I'm a little, I don't want to say shook up, but like I'm kind of heartbroken because I thought something more would happen than just this. But, it's part of the experience. It's about being out there and hot rodding. I got some positive vibes at the cruising last night from some old timers talking about hot rodding and the next generation coming in and actually still hot rodding. And this to them is what hot rodding is supposed to be, using what you have, putting something together and enjoying it. And the one guy was actually talking about an old AMC Javelin he has there, and it has small block Chevy in it because that's what was available to him, So that kind of made me feel good because normally it's negative responses when I bring some import to the local cruisins, but I guess it's in disguise, right? It's a Chevy. Well, we're back in the garage, and I know I don't think I was going to mess with this, but I'm sitting here thinking about it, and it won't take that long. Actually, it's kind of going to be a big pain in the butt. They said maybe I'll pull the head off for you guys, but now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, that's a lot of, like, everything has to come off. I think I'm going to start working at pulling the head off so we can see what the culprit is. How's that? So it might not finish today. I can wrap this up over the weekend, get this uploaded for you guys next week, and we'll have a game plan idea then. So I'm going to go let the dogs out. I'm going to get the water draining out of this, which I should have did outside since it's just water, but get the water draining out, and I guess I'll start making a pile of parts over here and see what happens. Try to get the head off and see what the main culprit is. Man, this is kind of a big to-do. For some reason in my head, I'm like, oh, it'll take 20 minutes. And yeah, that's not the case. I didn't even think about pulling all the turbo stuff off. So, here we go. All right, let's see if we can finagle this intake manifold out of here now. Kinda rotate, up, down. Stuff's in the way. What's still connected? Oh, this hose. This out of here. I think I goofed. Oh, no, we got it. There we go. Intake manifolds out. Oh yeah, check that out. Here you guys go. Look, there's our boost leak and vacuum leak. Epoxy spacer. It served its purpose, but couldn't handle it. Which, that was a temporary solution for a problem, immediate problem we had, and it worked. So, that's all that matters. It worked for what it was, but now that we're taking all this apart, we can assess it the right way. So I'm going to keep trucking along, pulling stuff off, and I'll let you know what happens next. There's the fuel rail spacers. Well, we got our fuel rail. Where'd those things go? Oh, one's way in there. These are very important. Well, it's really cool to see that this is how this is already going to go. I'm like, I'll leave the turbo in there. I'll just pull the housing bolts off the manifold. Curve snap. Brand new. I don't... It's not like they're gold. This has like 25 miles on it. And already I got bolts broken off in the turbine housing. Awesome. Well, in a strange turn of events, check this out. And I guarantee you, this is what the noise was. And since we unloaded the front portion of the cam, that's why the rattle stopped. I was getting ready to pull the cam gear to slip the belt off so I didn't have to screw with the whole front of the motor right now and get the timing cover off to pull the head. Look at that. Come on. All right, I just got all the head studs out. Let's see if we can get this big mammer jammer off here without screwing everything up. Oh yeah, look at that. Very awkward. Don't really have anything to grab on good. I don't want to break my timing cover. Big ol' head. Big ol' head. Let's see what we got here. Got some valve action. I don't know. That exhaust valve could be a little goofy. Maybe not. We'll have to take a closer look and see exactly what we come up with. Well, guys, here we're at. Truck shredded. I don't know if I really needed to pull the head yet. I haven't looked at it that well, as I just showed you. It was probably that cam gear making the noise, but we'd rather be safe than sorry. The intake spacer, it worked. Make it to the shootout, but obviously it didn't like the heat cycles. So we had to pull the head. Maybe I'll leave the bottom end in the truck and just put the 2G head on it, and we'll be ahead for next year. Or maybe I'll build something over the winter. I don't know. But my season's over for this. We'll get back to just doing the daily grind for a little bit and trickle this stuff in as it comes about. So I don't know what the next move is, right? Do I just build a motor, throw a 35R on it, break the trans? Well, no, maybe not. I mean, this little turbo is good for 500 horse, right? That'd be kind of fun too. And it'll spool right now. I don't know. I'm gonna play my options and just see how it goes. We got almost a year before the next shootout, so I guess I'll wait till August 20th to start playing with this thing, right? I don't know. It's a bit overwhelming, you know. It just sucks to put all that work in and then, you know, get beat down over something little and stupid. But again, I'd rather be safe than sorry. I don't want to torch a good core motor, you know, because I could build this now and we'll have something really cool. So I'm gonna, I don't know. I'm gonna price a few things, I guess. Reach out to some machine shops, maybe get put on a list, and just see how it goes. You know, this isn't a right now thing. It doesn't have to be a right now thing. So I'll just get back to the grind. I got a lot of Miss C projects to catch up on. Mr. Dave has some projects for me too. I gotta go see him, and we'll just take it one day at a time. This was fun for the last month. You know, it was a good distraction from the day-to-day, but we got to get back to the hustle and bustle. So, as always, remember, kindness is free. It doesn't cost you anything to be a decent person, and try to inspire someone. Thank you, guys.